Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Filters of MENA Edition. I'm your host Bharath, and today's guest, she is a digital orchestrator, compliance wrangler, and lead gen specialist for MENA's toughest market. Say hello to Neitu Kkithany. Neitu, welcome to Filters of MENA Edition.
Thank you, Bharath, for inviting me to Filters of MENA.
All right, Neitu, without further ado, let's go to segment one, which is B2B and finance funnels, right? So you've driven growth for finance and B2B brands, both in India and the GCC.
Correct.
Where do most digital marketers get lost in the funnel?
Oh, that's a great question to start with, Bharath. I would say when we talk about funnels, most of us stop usually very early in the whole, say that the clicks, the traffic, and we just end up into just the marketing qualified leads. So those are what I really call vanity metrics, that they look good on the paper, but always mean different into the actual, how it goes into the actual sales. So the real game in finance begins after actually when the leads come in. It's not about how many signups you collect into it. It's the funnel that drives 1,000 cold leads. Maybe means it's nothing if it is not in the right audience or if it does not pass that compliance around it.
Right.
So I would say the true sales impact is measured by how many of the leads are actually convert into the qualified, compliant customers. That is what really works. I believe that what actually moves the needle. Okay.
All right, so touching on the same point, right? Why high quality leads beat big lead lists, right? And how to get them? What do you do?
Okay, so again, the high quality leads always outperform sheer volume. Now, I've seen firsthand actually. It's like one campaign delivered a huge lead numbers, but less than 5% could only move past the compliance.
Okay.
So on the other hand, smaller, more targeted campaigns, I would say, generated fewer signups, but overall converted, So
Okay.
it's like half converted or converted, it's on them. So why? Because they had been better educated, pre-qualified from the start. So how do we get a high qualified lead is by nurturing, probably by educating and engaging them early into the whole journey.
Okay.
So these are leads who actually understand your product, trust your brand, and how you're being guided step by step, how you're been guiding them step by step before reaching the sales. It's far better to have a smaller kind of a list of informed leads than a huge list of unprepared leads, unprepared ones who are there into this journey.
Yeah.
So this is how they usually do it,
Yeah, true. Just you were talking about trust, right? So how should be the brands building trust and compliance into the funnel? What should brands do?
So it's always to say, in finance, I have always seen that, the trust isn't just a nice word to have, it's more of your currency that you are actually in your funnel that is there. You build it through transparency, data. It's how you're building a trust among your customers as well.
All right. So Neitu, you just touched upon trust, right? So what should brands do to building trust and compliance into the funnel? What are the tricks and tips for doing this?
That's again a good one with respect to the trust and the compliance. So I would say in finance, I have seen the trust isn't just a nice to have, it is the currency of your funnel.
Yeah.
You build it through transparency, through data privacy, and the regulatory alignment. Even small things like how you word your disclaimers and how you collect the user data. It can make or break your confidence, or maybe how you're going ahead to showcase yourself to the brand. So or to the customer, sorry to say. So if your funnel ignores these all, no matter how clever your campaigns are, or your struggle to convert, how you're struggling to convert them into, the key is to shift your mindset. Don't measure success by traffic or the raw leads. It's focus on moving leads seamlessly, compliantly and confidently from awareness all the way to the conversion. That's the real funnel optimization beyond traffic, beyond leads.
Yeah, very rightly put. Great. So let's go to segment 2 now. All right, so Neetu, let's go to segment 2, multi-channel strategy, paid, organic, or both, right? So you've run everything from Google and Meta ads to deep dive SEO and email. What's your channel mix playbook when budget and compliance are both at stake, right? So what would you do?
So again, this is again a very good and very my interesting kind of a question that has come in. So when it really comes to channel strategy, so I always start with a simple question: which channel actually moves the needle?
Okay.
It's like paid channels like Google and Meta are great for speed and visibility. They can put your message in front of your the people very nicely, very quickly, in fact, and you have a good responses as well. But they don't actually automatically build trust, which is crucial in finance also. So organic channels like SEO, webinars, and email work slower, but it's really excellent for credibility and long-term, kind of relationship with your customers. The trick is layering both. It's like paid campaigns can drive traffic to your organic content, and organic campaigns, whereas they can nurture those leads further. Think of it's like more like a relay race. Like paid gives you the initial push, whereas organic carries them across the finish line. So, but you have to be intentional. It's like more like not every channel is right for every goal.
Right.
That's what I'll really put up over here now.
Nice. I think so. Rightly said. Synergy, bring synergy to each channel, and kind of have a collaborative kind of an approach, right?
So is that, and not every channel is actually for you. Probably that one channel would be the one that will really work well for your customers, for your leads.
Yeah, and don't buy into peer pressure just because someone is doing.
Yes, don't have a FOMO effect.
Yeah.
It's like it's better be sure where your customers are there and try to push them over there. And it's more like having a more how we say personalized approach to your customers. You know where the customers are there in your funnel. Work on that.
Right. So just talking about this, right? So we're just touching upon channels. So what would you say from a channel performance in finance or B2B space versus other verticals? What are the differences in this space?
So again, the channel performances I would really put across, it's just don't stick to only the channels. 100% go to reach out or come out to events, probably outsource it, how we really go, and just don't stick to the digital era.
Okay.
It's like we can surely have our events placed to it. So I would just say in finance, intent matters, where very more than the reach. It's like unlike customer focused industries, you can't just blast ads to a huge number of audience and expect the conversion to happen there. Channels that let you segment and target based on interest. It's it's more like channels that let you segment and target based on the interest of the audience according to that, or the previous engagement perform better. How much I would say. Now, for example, sending an email sequence to people who attend a webinar is far more effective than a generic offer that you're not giving it to everyone. Measurement,
very well customized.
Yeah, it's like more customized, how you're doing, more personalized as per your requirement, as per your audience.
Yeah,
it's like measurement and testing are everything what works in one market probably, and or the product may fall for another. It is actually that way. So I believe that the focus isn't being everywhere. It's more being at the right place with the right message and at the right time. That is how it really works.
Yeah, I think right place, right time works for even sales or
everywhere.
A lot of professions as well. Very rightly put. So also, how should be brands avoiding channel fatigue and audience burnout? What are your hacks on this?
So again, I have seen over here, we just try to put on the messages, we just go on bombarding the messages everywhere. Retargeting happens, and everything has been happening. So what I would really say, know where your audience is, at what place in your journey they are. Try to have a personalized messages on that way. So this is how actually works into how you're going ahead. For example, if we want to really we know that our customer has already been the first part. He has come, he has seen where you are into the journey, what you are doing on a product base, but still they are not into the decision maker of coming and buying it, or maybe coming to you for your services.
Right.
So understand where your customers is there in your journey, and have a more specific personalized messages to them to have them.
Right. Great. That was an interesting, way of looking at the channel strategy and all this channel fatigue and all. All right, so Neitu, let's go to segment 3 now, right?
Okay.
So lead gen events and sponsorships. Is it worth the hype, right? So that's the segment. So events, webinars, and sponsorships are back in full swing, right, after the pandemic. Now, what's overrated and what's actually delivers in finance as a market, right? Or a category. What does it? How does it work?
So events are again a very good engine, but again, I would say events, webinars, all have a very good impact. So I would just start off with say that when it really comes to lead generation events, footfall doesn't really to say it doesn't equal the business. Probably a crowded booth, or probably a flashy banners around it, or even the coolest selfie booth that we usually make at every event to attract the customers. It just makes the marketing team happy around. Maybe the budgets just shoot up and everything happens.
Okay.
But it doesn't automatically generate the real outcomes.
Right.
So just because 100 people stop at your booth, probably it doesn't mean that they are qualified and ready to engage. So I would say the real impact comes from intentional, curated kind of formats.
Right.
Think probably how we know a kind of a closed door roundtables like that, where actually the decision makers can have a meaningful discussion. That is where the actual closing happens.
Yeah.
So I would say expert-led workshops, probably where attendees walk with actionable insights. That really works in events, or probably a co-branded sessions that attract the right audience. These events actually create genuine businesses. The intent, because people attend to solve the problem or probably learn something relevant. It's just not coming to the events and being there,
right.
Just showcasing everything, but it's more intentional, more solving the problems of the audiences or the customers. This is how it really, I would really say, having events, it's fine, engage, but make sure they are very curated as per your business.
Right.
That really works.
Yeah, true. I think there are so many events that happen in the media industry, right? And not all the audience footfalls are going to be relevant also. So you need to also have the relevant audience engagement happening. And so on this point, right, aligning event ROI with business goals, how would a brand do it, right? So what should be their prime focus?
So again, I would just put up Bharath, alignment is really a key. Marketing can't just run logistics and hope for the best. Sales and marketing need to collaborate early. Identify the target accounts, pre-qualify the attendees who are attending into it, and set a clear objective. So once the sales and the marketing are in sync, I think the audience also benefit, and the marketing and the whole overall the event gets curated as per our requirement of the business.
Right.
So when everyone knows what is the goal around it, you can design the session and follow up. But actually the more prospects, you can get actually the more prospects into your funnel in that. So it's about quality again over quantity. For example, we run a lot of roundtables for we had our sessions when we really had run a lot of roundtables for a niche financial audience. But limited the seat only to around say 20 people, then having 200 people inside the room. But we know these 20 people were the chosen ones who were really interested into our services, and this is what counts. Probably of that, we would say around 50 to 60% probably would be interested.
Okay.
So we know that out of 20, at least 10 probably something would be there who are interested into convert or probably would be interested into our services. It can proceed ahead down the funnel. So that's the ROI you can measure. That's how you can ROI you can measure, because the event was designed with real business goals in mind. That is how you curate it.
Right. So you just talked about how curation works, right? So post-event follow-up, right? So what most brands get wrong in this? After the event, what should the brands do? Is there an re-engagement, or what is what are the missing?
So usually that only. So it's once the event is over, yes, make sure that your audience is really being in sync, or probably you are there on top of their mind. So it's the post-event follow-ups are where most of our brands actually fumble. It's it's sending a generic email saying that thanks for attending the event, here's a brochure. That doesn't really nowadays cut it. The follow-up it needs to be very fast, probably relevant and personalized.
Right.
You should know that the customer should know that you are really interested in serving them. It's more on those lines, highlighting the main key points from discussions, probably sharing the resources tailored to their challenges, and it makes it easy for them to take the next step.
Okay.
This is how it really works. So event follow-ups are again very crucial.
Right.
It's like, just like not sending a thank you, probably it may just not work. You have to be engaged with your customer, understanding what he really wants. And that really works. And again, the timing matters too. A follow-up event that, if you're doing a follow-up weeks after, probably it is already too late. It needs to be, the reminder should be really very instant one onto that. So I would say when done right, events just don't give you leads. They give you an engaged, qualified prospects who are ready for meaningful conversations.
Right. Yeah, true. Let's go to segment 4. Content and community, credibility in regulated sectors. All right, so Neitu, let's go to segment 4, content and community, credibility in regulated sectors, right? So you've worked in highly regulated industries like finance, right? So how do you use content and community to build trust without crossing compliance lines, without crossing any, major boundaries?
Yeah, correct. So again, content is the king, as we have always known. And when you really work with a highly regulated sectors like finance, content isn't just about posting for the sake of it.
Right.
The first rule I always follow is be real.
Okay.
Be relevant, but get it reviewed. Compliance can't be an afterthought around it, but it should always be completely into the first, and it should actually sync with the creativity. The compliance and the creativity once synced at the first hand is always really works well.
Right.
So I really focus on content that simplifies complex topics. Finance is full of jargons as we know it, but the most clients don't have the time to actually decode it.
Right.
So by breaking the concepts down, providing actionable insights, and sharing customer success stories, you position your brand in an educator rather than a seller. So it's people start trusting you more because you push products, because you help them understand what really matters.
Right. So you just touched upon compliance approvals, right? So how should brands be navigating these compliance approvals, because they're very slow, right? And because of slow turnarounds, a lot of people just think that, okay, let's just do whatever content and then we'll think about it later. So how should brands look at it?
So again, the compliance can be slow. It's not we have to really push in and get the compliance, but compliance is crucial in finance. So I would say compliance can slow things down, legal reviews, the disclaimers, regulatory checks can add a lot of delays, probably in the weeks as well at some point of time. But if you build a workflow that would with that legal in mind since the starting, maybe templatized your pre-approved kind of phrasings around it, a clear path is there, can prevent a bottlenecks and the last minute rejections. The key is to plan ahead so creativity isn't killed.
Right.
And the content still moves through the funnel efficiently. So
right.
Plan your content along with your compliance. This is how it really works.
Right. Okay. So also when we talk about content, right, looking at social a lot, right? So how should brands be turning social engagement into real world actions? Is there any social to conversion kind of story?
Again, I would just put social is again being just social. Just think about having your own kind of a communities, or where the content actually really matters, where the content comes live. So it's ads and paid campaigns can drive really good awareness for y'all, but safe, trusted spaces like closed rooms or probably closed LinkedIn groups probably, and targeted webinars or client networks can give you real engagement.
Really great
Correct.
results.
So prospects feel actually your audience feel comfortable asking specific questions when they are in the closed rooms, or sharing some kind of a challenges and interacting, which really builds trust over time, and trust is very crucial.
Yeah.
So it's just not about one-off engagement. Communities work best when nurtured continuously through webinars, questionnaire sessions being available for them to answer their questions or queries, and discussions. This really, the content actually educates and the community validates. It's more how your just content is there, but actually the community being there, you're validating, and amplifying it. It's more on that.
Right. True, Neitu. So let's go to segment 5, which is MarTech measurement. What matters, right? Everyone's flooded with MarTech dashboards, but what's actually that matters for B2B and finance marketers, or any B2B marketer?
Another principle I follow is simplicity over complexity. The best MarTech stacks don't overwhelm you with dashboards. They make reporting easier, insights clearer, and action smarter. Now, I prefer tools that align marketing and sales together. So both teams work from the same date instead of just adding extra layer that actually confuses everyone.
Right.
So I also like to run small pilot campaigns to test the tools and channels. Before committing to a full rollout, I experiment, measure performance, and probably scale what works for us.
Okay. All right. So you were talking about simplifying stuff, right? So, but from an attribution lens, what are the headaches that are there in attribution, and what are the fixes for it?
So again, attribution, it's always a tricky in B2B and finance, what I've seen. So because sales cycles are long and multi-touch, someone might interact with your LinkedIn post, attend a webinar, and read an email around it also to say, and finally convert after talking to sales. No single metric captures the whole journey. So that's why I rely on multi-touch attribution tied into the CRM.
Right.
So this way you see which campaigns and channels genuinely contribute to conversions. Ultimately, MarTech isn't just about tracking. It's more about taking smarter decisions. Doubling down onto the high performing campaigns, pivoting from underperforming channels.
Okay.
It's always turning data into action. So marketing impacts really business outcomes, not just the spreadsheets.
Neitu, we just covered a lot of headaches points from attribution. Now let's go to a fun segment, right? This is a segment which we've gotten from the season 1, which is a very popular and very fun segment which I like as well. Explain, like I'm a 5-year-old. Basically, I'm a kid, and you have to explain a topic to me. Explain SEO for finance in as a 5-year-old. I am the 5-year-old.
You are the 5-year-old. All right. Okay, Bharath, we'll make you as a 5-year-old now. Okay. So I would just say it like, how does this SEO, all right, let's explain, we are talking to a 5-year-old. Now you imagine you made the content, you make a cooler school project probably. And now your teacher sits back, keeps it behind the radiator. No one is seeing it. Sad, right? If no one is really seeing your project, which was a cool from your point of view.
Okay.
But it's like the whole, that's how the whole actually the website and the SEO stuff is. It is brilliant that you have made that project, but it's it's being kept at behind, invisible to everyone. So now here's the fun part that how the project gets picked for the school display. Everyone walking by can see it, but it's easy to find. And people start trusting your work. Okay. That's exactly what SEO does for your finance or probably any company right now. It makes it makes sure your website is easy to find, trustworthy, and visible to the people who are looking for your advice or solutions. But it's just like if your SEO is not done properly, the website would be at the back end. It's it's just been at the back end for you.
Yeah.
Now the best part is unlike ads that stop when your budget ends, SEO keeps working overtime. It drives traffic, builds credibility, and helps high quality leads for you to find you, where the high quality leads are. Now, long before they ever speak to, long before actually coming in and speaking to the sales, it's at the website, probably at how the SEO works for you. So, think SEO is your project, and on the bulletin board, neat, clear, and impossible to ignore.
Okay, nice. That's a very nice analogy of taking SEO to a boardroom or a class, and I'm talking about the boardroom in class. And yeah, it's a very nice way to express how to use an SEO. All right, so Neitu, let's go to segment 7, right? So growth confession booth. What's one digital hack, channel, or trend you used to love at one point, but now see as a overrated for a real growth?
So Bharath, that's a good question to ask again, how we are if I had to confess one thing I used to love but now see as overrated, it would be the idea of chasing every single social channel. For a long time there was this pressure that if you weren't everywhere, probably LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, or probably anywhere, you're somewhat missing it. It was more like a FOMO, like you're not there on this channel, you're missing that, you should be there on this channel. But again, I say that as it is said to many others, I tried to spread across all of them. The problem, you end up being everywhere, but not truly present anywhere.
Yeah.
So it looks good on paper to say like you are active on 6 platforms, you're active on 7 platforms, but the reality is that content gets diluted.
Yeah, it's just become a boasting point that, I'm there, I'm here.
Yeah, you're not tailoring it enough as for your audience. You're not engaging deeply with your audience, and you start to be say you're not that authority over there. So it's better, this is how I learned a long way. Like a confession I would say is like, be relevant, be there where you want your audience to see you, and curate your content as per your audience, as per your need.
Okay, nice. That's a good way of putting a confession out there. So Neitu, let's go to segment 8. This is basically a challenge round, and if you were given $250K, right? So, and you're asked to run without Meta or Google or any walled gardens like TikTok or others, right? So where would you spend it, right? Where would you invest and why?
So if I had $250K to grow any finance brand, but couldn't touch Google or Meta, I'll actually be excited.
Okay.
So because
first one I'm listening to.
I'll actually be excited around it, because the constraint forces us to think differently. And in finance, trust and credibility is everything. The first place I'll invest, in more like in-person, like high-impact events, and not the kind of generic expos, I would say, where you just exchange the business cards, build collaterals, roundtables, the CXO.
Closed roundtables.
Yeah, the closed roundtables and all.
Yeah.
It's but CXO dinners, or probably every summits that we attend.
Yeah, in fact, we do a lot of closed roundtables as well. Yeah, okay. That's a very good
That's really
strategy.
a good, it is actually a good engine again. So it's like closed door summits also, where the decision makers actually want to be there in. When you bring the right kind of 20, people inside the room, the magic actually happens.
Okay.
It's not about the 100 of leads. It's about more handful of deep, high value relationships or conversations that can actually move the needle over there. So the second, lever that I'll pull is email marketing, nurturing, and it's like more like segmentization onto the email marketings, not just monthly newsletters, but personalized, flows for new investors or probably new customers into it.
Okay.
So tailored insights again for a specific HNIs or thought leadership kind of players in finance who are there.
Okay.
Timing is everything, I would say, but so someone might read your mail one day, and probably at that time they are not ready to take your services at that time.
Okay.
I would say putting the emails, it already stays into their inbox, and they are the ones, when the need is there, that time they would really need it. So focus on email marketing.
Okay.
But again, it's like how you plan yourself. Have you have a personalized messages to your customers,
right.
like that.
True, that's true.
So more is like, if not going really into the Google and the Meta, I would really spend more into these kind of channels where the authority is there, it can come in, but it is again a slow and organic
way. Yeah, true, that's true. All right, Neitu, this is a fun round, segment 9, rapid fire, word associations, right? So I will put in a word or a metric, it can be a trend or whatever, right? So you will have to tell me what comes to your head in one word first, within a second, right?
Okay.
Don't think too much, just say what comes to your head first. Let's start?
Tricky one. Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Leads.
Very important.
Okay. Trust.
Always needed.
Compliance.
Crucial.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's how. CRM.
Very important.
Okay. Webinars.
Good engine.
ROI.
Needed.
SEO.
Always there. It should always be there.
Should always be there. Nice. Funnel. Events.
Budgeted.
Attribution.
Important.
Okay, nice. Brand safety.
Very crucial.
Ad fraud.
Take care. It's better to be
Better safe to
safe.
be than sorry. Yeah, true. Very much in the time segment where we need to be, 50 minutes in. All right, so Neetu, let's go to the last segment, right? It's a legacy POE segment. From CRM to compliance campaigns to communities, what legacy do you want to leave as a digital leader in the finance and B2B space?
Great. That's again a good, interesting, like another question that has come up for me now. So I would say for me, the real impact happens when knowledge is backed by connection, values, and consistent effort.
Okay.
That's true in marketing, in finance, and in leadership. If I leave behind anything, I hope it's this, to have more, value to something, and I helped to bridge the gap between the compliance and the creativity, between numbers and narratives, and built campaigns that didn't just convert but genuinely connected the audience to the brand.
Okay.
So I would say this is what I really want to leave behind to help them bridge the gap between the compliance, the creativity, and everywhere.
Okay, nice. That's a very good way of putting forward how you want to be called out in the industry. All right, so that's a great way to end the segment. Thanks, Neetu, for joining us on Filters of MENA Edition. I'm looking forward to more such conversations in the future. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Bharath, for having me over here. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the M-Filtrate channel and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram for more such videos. I'm your host Bharath, signing off today. See ya.